Later this month, local students can attend a conference giving them interesting tools and resources for fostering leadership skills and reinforcing the values of community service. And here with more on the Leadership Conference hosted by the New Mexico chapter, Hugh O'Brien Youth International, is Vincent Tomei. Glad to have you, Vincent.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for being here this
I'm
morning.
glad to be here.
This sounds like an awesome opportunity for youth. Tell me about the organization and the local chapter.
Okay, well, the organization was started in the mid-50s by Hugh O'Brien, who is a famed actor from the TV series Wyatt Earp. He met with Albert Schweitzer, who is a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and he started this organization to teach leadership skills to high school students starting in the 10th grade, and the program since the 50s has grown to include world conferences and international conferences and local leadership and volunteer activities for students that have graduated from these programs.
And there's a local leadership, kind of a summit,
right?
And what do students learn there?
So all over the country, every summer at universities in every state, these seminars are organized for 10th grade students. And in New Mexico, we're bringing students, we call them ambassadors because they're coming from high schools all over the state. We have about 60 students coming this year, and they'll be coming to the University of New Mexico. They'll be with us for 2 nights and 3 days. It's a rigorous agenda. We have panel speakers and keynote speakers, and we have specific activities to teach them teamwork and to learn how to not only be a leader, but how to follow leaders and things like that. Yeah.
And then there's some folks that are selected from this particular summit to
Right.
go on to, and I say summit, but I just mean a conference, to go on to a global one across the country, across the world?
Right. There is a World Leadership Conference which takes place in Chicago, I believe at Loyola University, and so select students from all over the U.S. from each of these seminars will be selected to go to that conference. They expect about 400 people at that conference. It lasts a week, and they take on very large volunteer projects like rebuilding parks and things like that. So it really teaches the kids a lot about volunteerism and what they can do in their own communities when they go back home to organize volunteer activities that will help their own communities.
It sounds fascinating. How does one get to be selected then for the greater conference?
Well, all year long we work to notify and communicate with high schools all over the state and let them know we have this program. We also work with the Optimist Clubs of New Mexico to get to raise money for scholarships for kids so that they can come at no cost. Some schools actually pick up the cost, but usually either a teacher or a counselor or vice principal will sort of select students in their school. Each school does it very differently, but we look to have 2 students from each school.
How does one get signed up if they're interested? It sounds like a fascinating opportunity.
Well, if a student is interested, they can go to their counselor or vice principal and say, hey, I heard about this activity and it's something I really want to do. You do have to have completed the 10th grade, so you have to be completing the 10th grade in order to be to participate in this, but usually the counselor and the student will work together with the parents to do the application process and raise any money if needed.
Sounds like a great opportunity. KRQE.com, we got a link there to the Hugh O'Brien Youth International details. And Vincent, we're so glad to have you this morning. Thanks for explaining that. We'll look forward to hearing more about it as it develops. Headlines are next. Don't go anywhere.